Hiya, I'm Jasmine from Safe Lock Systems, and I'm here today with Graham McIntosh, who is Dormacarver's Global Chief Engineer and Product Manager. These videos today are about the new GARD 700 series and the installation process for Deadbolt and Swingbolt locks. Very conveniently, we have these pre-drilled and tapped display boards, so we'll be using these today. But if any engineers wanted to record a video of a live safe installation, we would be happy to offer a free 702 Deadbolt or Swingbolt lock set to the best video. The lock body hasn't mechanically changed from the old GARD locks, and so it uses the same Euro profile mounting template. The keypad backplate is provided with mounting holes at the vertical 12 and 6 o'clock positions. Adapter plates are available if it's not possible to drill and tap these areas. As standard, the locks are supplied with UNC screws, but we do have metric alternatives available. The keypad fixing kit comes with the following parts: an anti-rotate device, which is only used for Swingbolt mounting where the keypad is fixed into position, a steel spindle holder which is fitted to the keypad, a plastic cable holder fitted to the keypad side, a plastic lock cable holder fitted to the lock side, and 2 backplate mounting screws. But again, we do have metric alternatives available. So the first part is measuring the thickness of the door and cutting the spindle to the correct size. So in this example here, you can see that the recess in the lock is 8.7mm and the recess to the keypad is 10mm. So the overall thickness basically has to be the thickness of the door plus 18.7mm. So once the spindle is cut to the right size, you need to make sure that it's been deburred and has nice smooth edges so that there's no nicks or anything that could catch on the cable of the keypad. Mount the keypad backplate at the 12 and 6 o'clock positions. So we next need to fit the steel spindle holder over the cable. And position it on the corresponding posts in the keypad. So we'll then position the spindle in place. Then we position the cable holder, the keypad cable holder, over the cable, and again position it on the corresponding posts on the keypad. So we feed the cable through the hole in the door. And then hold the keypad at the 11 o'clock position so that it can sit flush, so the backplate recesses within it. It can then be turned to the 12 o'clock position. Place the lock side cable holder over the cable. And position it so that the cable has freedom of movement. So in the Deadbolt lock body, we've got a recessed area, which is where the cable should have the freedom of movement whilst the spindle turns. And then we mount the lock using the 3 fixing screws, ensuring that the cable has freedom of movement. It's generally easiest to install the keypad without the batteries in, but if it has been installed with the batteries, remove the battery tray now because power needs to be disconnected for connection of the lock. You can now connect the keypad cable to the ENT port of the lock. Fix the cable using cable ties to make sure that it doesn't interfere with any other safe parts like the bolt works. Insert the keypad battery tray to provide power to the lock system and give it a few moments so that the lock can initialise, and then you should be able to test an opening code 01123456. And the lock opens. So it needs to be obviously put back to the closed position once the safe door has been closed, and we will say that there is a little bit of play in the keypad still, like with the old GARD locks, and that's to be expected. Position the steel spindle holder over the cable and onto the corresponding posts in the keypad. Position the cable holder over the keypad cable and onto the corresponding posts in the keypad. Fit the anti-rotate device onto the keypad and push it into position. The little square posts on each side should be facing it up, so it should just push fit in quite comfortably. So we're just going to go through how the anti-rotate device works by positioning the back plate so that you can see where the square posts on the anti-rotate device actually are ready to be pushed and clicked into position. So if that's rotated slightly, you can see quite a bit of force is going to be required to actually rotate it once mounted, so that those little posts click into the locked position. Mount the keypad backplate at the 12 and 6 o'clock positions. Okay, so we'll feed the cable through the cable hole in the door, and then position the keypad at the 11 o'clock position so that it sits over the backplate and flush with the door, and you then rotate it quite forcefully, clockwise rather, so that it clicks into position. Position the cable in the recess at the back of the lock and mount the lock using the 3 screws. Again, if the keypad's been mounted with the batteries connected, disconnect the battery tray first, which is in this case, and then connect the keypad cable to the ENT port of the lock. Use a cable tie to hold back the cabling to make sure that it doesn't interfere with any safe bolt works, and you can then connect power to the keypad. Give it a few moments to initialise. Enter a valid opening code, and the lock will open. So one of the things to consider about when the keypad is fixed for a Swingbolt is that it's actually quite difficult to then remove it once it's been rotated and clicks into that locked position with the anti-rotate device. It's then quite difficult to remove it non-destructively. Any attempt to remove it is likely to damage the keypad or the back plate, although hopefully we're about to see some examples of what to do in that scenario. So Graham's just going to demonstrate for us removing the keypad after it's been fixed in position, which will be destructive, but hopefully only to the back plate. Okay, so the hammer didn't work, so we're going to try it with a screwdriver instead. Nice. There we go, look at that. Right, what's broken? Just that part of the back plate. So this is a consumable part, so you can purchase this separately. So in the event that you do need to remove the keypad once it's been fixed by the anti-rotate device, it is possible to take it off. Let's hope the lock still works after this though.